Yes, welcome to this webinar in English from Visuell Planering. It has passed 11:30, so I think it's time to start. So welcome to all attendees. I am Johan Enfeldt, a senior consultant with Visuell Planering since many years. And today we're going to have a short walkthrough of some important news in the Edison365 suite. And it's mainly going to be about news in Edison projects. So I will just switch to a different presentation here, and we should be ready to go. So. Go. So the agenda for today is, as I said, some news in the Edison365 suite, and the user interface changes that we're going to go through is in Edison365 projects, and it's going to be about Gantt chart enhancements, possibility to have multiple Gantt charts or planning boards in a project based on the project template. We're going to look at some extended configurability, some nice to have changes in the UI, and the option to work with the projects with process stages. And then we're also going to talk about some infrastructure changes, mainly something which will be the Edison365 app, but I will get back to that. So the first thing we're going to look at, and this is just a screenshot, I'm going to go over into the live demo now. It is in Edison projects, and it has to do with how you can work with indentation of tasks. Let's switch to a demo. Now I could start from home here, and we should be on the Edison projects. So this is what you're familiar with. A few of the changes that you may see already if you are Edison projects user is that you will see some rounded corners on many of the elements in the user interface. For example, the search box here, it's no longer corners, it's rounded. So it's that modern thing that is in all other apps. So it's coming here as well. Now, if we go into a project here and look at the time schedule, and sorry for some of the headings being in Swedish in this demo. So the new thing here is now that we can actually not only indent things, but also expand and collapse, as those of you who've been working with Microsoft Project are used to. So that is now also in Microsoft Project. So this planning tool gets more and more user-friendly with more and more functionality. And for those of you who have not seen Edison projects, I'm now looking at this time schedule in the list mode. I can also look at it in a timeline mode, where it looks like that. And you see then this work package B here basically is a summary task of the two activities below. So it works as expected. And the only thing you need to do here to work with this is if you edit the project, and should be able to put in a new item here. So I get this here, and I can then continue to work sub item 1, and I can of course then do sub item 2, and as you would expect, select the lines and use the indent functionality, and there you go. So you have the same type of hierarchical planning, and this may not look like a big thing, but for users who have started to work with planning here, this actually is going to be really important. Note also that the old and familiar functionality here, not only to switch from the list to the timeline, but you also have the board. So there is a way of planning and managing stuff in this type of more agile manner. So okay, so that was one the important thing on the planning features. Go back to the list here. Now we should then look at also the next new thing here, and that is filtering, which is also important if you have larger plans. And in this case, I don't have that many columns set up, but so that's why I'm showing you a filter. But if you have a long plan with many tens or even hundreds of items, it would be very valuable to be able to filter out things based on what you're working on at the moment. If we go over to the demo again, this filter is the new button here. So in this case, I can filter by name, contains item in this case, and apply, and then I only get those. If I go over to the board, you see the filter is still in play because the filter is available both for the list, the timeline, and the board, and I only need to set it once. So this is very, very important for a user that will work with a large plan or something. And in my case, I only had the option, I only set this up to be able to filter on names, but you can add other fields as we saw in the screenshot earlier. So I'll clear the filter here, and the whole plan is back. Of course, also in timeline or board mode. Okay. I should also add one more thing here, and that is a function that actually has been around for a little while, but so it's not actually new for this release. But the thing here is that if I go into to the time schedule list, and then I look at this sub item 2 here, and I say this is owned by me. I have this appear on personal page toggle here, and this is an important way of distributing work to users. So if I save that, and then we save and close the project. Now, for a normal user who's not working with a plan, there is this personal tab, and here I see the projects I'm responsible for, which is only one actually, but I also have this my work here, and this is where the items that I am assigned to come up. So that's also a feature that is available since actually the winter, but not all customers have started using it yet, so I thought I might as well highlight it today. So let's go back to home and back to the presentation. We can take a look at this button here. I want to create a project, and for those of you, many organizations actually use this to create what they call projects, but not all do. Some of them call them just plans, and a plan could be for a project, for a maintenance task, for a simple task or something. So in some organizations, the word project has been a bit misleading here. They want to create a plan, and some of the plans are projects, some of the plans are something else, and that is now possible. So from the screenshot, we can reconfigure the environment to have call the items here plans instead of projects. So it says create a plan there, and instead of and then we can group them as change requests or plans or projects. So that's also a new feature from this August release that we think that customers will like. We know from our heritage of Microsoft Product Online or Product Server implementations that this used to be something that some organizations actually wanted to have. They called the things in the system plans, and some of them were projects, some of them were change requests, some of them were maintenance tasks or things like that. Okay, now there are a few more things we should look at before we go into the app changes. So I'm going to go back to the demo. And there are two other new features that are available in projects, and they have actually been around a little longer than the August release, but they are not that well known to customers, and not many use them yet. So we should go through them. And I'm going to open a different project now. Going to take this one. And so this looks just like any project. We have a details page with a lot of fields and tags. We have a business decision point status. We have a status report. We have stakeholders. We have risks and so on. So this is the normal stuff you configure, your normal lists and so on. And I have the project schedule, which is just your normal schedule with your timeline or your board mode, or however you want to work with it. Now, if we think about this as a project where we're going to deliver something, then at some point in time, we're going to have to train administrators and users of the new solution that this product is delivering. And one way of doing that would be to have like a node in the plan where you have the training schedule. And that's how you do it in basically any other planning tool. You will need to put it into your plan. But with Edison products, we are now able to add multiple schedules into one project. So here I have the project schedule tab, and in the end here, I have the training schedule, which is also a schedule. So works exactly the same, but it is a separate entity. So this makes it possible to keep the schedule more easy to work with and more clean, and possibly also one person responsible for the project schedule, someone else responsible for the training schedule. Easier for everybody to work with. So, and now it's fair to ask, okay, so how do we add this? It's not out of the box. Out of the box, there's the project schedule. How do we add the training schedule? And this is leads us into the admin interface. So we're going to look at some changes there. So I'll just, yeah, we can just go over to the admin. So I go over to the admin here, and basically in Edison products, we are working with the product types. And those product types are built up using forms, and forms can include tables or fields. Tables include fields. So this is how it sort of hangs together. So if I look at the types here, so we can see how this is done. The project type I was working with is called large project, or stort projekt in svenska, in Swedish. So if we look at that and say edit here, this is where we configure the project with all the information. And if we look at forms here, we can see that this is basically a designer of the form. And here we have our details, project schedule, the training schedule. And the form design, that's something we preload. And this, I have preloaded this from a form that is called 1006. So basically, in order to add your extra schedule, you need to go into your product type, see which form are we using, and then go over and take a look at the form. So now I'm in the form designer and I find this 1006. And here I have my design surface for this form. So this is where I add tabbed zones. So in this case, I have details, project schedule, status report, stakeholders, risks, training schedule. Now, if I would like to add one more tabbed zone here, that would be what I do. And then I add, so deployment schedule or something. So this is where I add those. And then I continue to add a column zone and add either one column or two columns and so on. So that's how you do it. And in this case, for the training schedule, we have done that and we have added the schedule to this zone. So that's how you do it. And this means that you can have, well, from a user point of view, we shouldn't say you can have as many schedules as you want, because there's probably a limit to what is practical and a user can handle. But if you need a project schedule, a training schedule, a deployment schedule, or an update schedule or something, that's perfectly fine to be able to add here. So that was one thing here, the option to add multiple schedules. And this is part of the training that we do when we implement this for customers. So customers should be able to do this themselves. Now, one other thing here, if I go back to the types and I go back to this large and edit it, we see here now I have the details and I have the forms, but in the end here, we have a new button here, or a new toggle called Enable Stages. Now, if I enable stages here, what happens is I get a new tab here, which means that I can define process steps or process stages for this. And we are going to get back with a separate webinar on how to set this up later this autumn, because this is too much work to do in one session with all the news here. But what this is, and for those of you who are familiar with Edison Business Case, this is the same functionality that is in Business Case. So if I go over to, I have a tab here next called Edison Business Case, where we have the Edison Business Case product up and running. And let's see if that was the one I should bring up. Yes. So Edison Business Case is more focusing on the business case part of activities and projects in organizations. And here, this process has been around for a long time. So basically, you set up your draft. First, you're in draft. Once you reach a number of criteria, you can move it to benefit planning or benefit analysis and benefit realization and decision. With this new stages feature in Edison Products, you can set the same type of processes up in Edison Products and have them visualized in the user interface, so everybody knows where we are in our process or project model or whatever you want to call it. So what you're seeing here is that Edison Business Case and Edison Products is starting to look more and more the same, are getting the same functionality, but is targeted for different scenarios, either projects for product management and business case for managing business cases. which leads us over to my last part of this webinar, and that is the changes to the infrastructure here. As of now, if you purchase subscriptions for Edison projects, there is a first-time setup where we deploy Edison projects into your 365 environment, and there's an Azure part of that and a database part of that that needs to be set up. If you later on want to add Edison business case, up until now it has been basically a new deployment. New deployment of the Edison business case functionality and new items in Azure and a new database. And then those two products have been integrated, so data can flow between them. But what happens now is that the Edison 365 Products app and the Edison 365 Business Case app, technically they become one Edison 365 app, which includes both products and business case. So which functionality you can use depends on your subscriptions. And I just pasted in the information from Edison in the UK here with the difference for new customers. For new customers, they will immediately get the Edison 365 app, and then depending on their subscriptions, they will have business case or projects or both available. But it's only one install, and it's only one Azure SQL database that needs to be set up. For existing customers, Edison in UK, together with us, will contact all customers to have this change implemented, so it becomes a smooth process. So from a user point of view, it already looks pretty much the same. So many users basically think it is the same, but from a technical point of view, they have today been separate. And the advantages of this is now we get to the same infrastructure, same database, which means that it's a lot easier to add business case to your product's environment or the other way around. And the data flow between the products is also more straightforward, which provides for easier reporting for those who have both. So yes, so that was what I was planning to go through today. So if I go back to the agenda, we have looked at the Gantt chart enhancements, the multi-Gantt charts or multi-planning boards. We have looked at some extended configurability, and we have looked at the process stages. And last but not least, some information on the new Edison 365 app, which for those who are only running projects or only running business case will be a simple technical enhancement that provides for easier addition of the other product later on. For those who already use both, it will reduce the amount of infrastructure to keep up to date and provide for more smooth integration and reporting. So let's see now if we have any questions. That's something I forgot to say, actually. There's a Q&A thing in the Teams window where you should be able to write questions if you have any, and then I will try to answer them at my best. Okay, so one question here is, what about Edison ideas? There are actually 3 Edison 365 products: Edison Products, Edison Business Case, and Edison Ideas. And Edison Ideas is the ideation product, sometimes used as a pre-step to products and business cases, sometimes used totally standalone. So why has that not been covered in this session? The thing here is that Edison Products and Edison Business Case is built using a database-based architecture in Azure. So that's the first step from Edison, to have those two tied more closely together. Edison ideas have a user interface that is very, very similar to products and business case, but it's based on entirely on a SharePoint infrastructure as of today, which means that it has not been possible for Edison to migrate it into the same app. But it is, I think, reasonable to assume that there is at least thinking going on if that should be a good idea. But as of now, Edison ideas is still separate from the other two. Okay, I think that was the only question. So thank you for attending. You will, my colleague Mikael will send out an evaluation form, and would be great if you can take time to respond to it. We have done most of those webinars in Swedish, but we're going to try to have some of them in English because we have English-speaking customers. So let us know what you think about that. And also try to keep track of content from us. Subscribe to our newsletter, follow us on LinkedIn, and look at our YouTube channel. All webinars are available there, as well as some other small videos. Could be how-to videos or information videos on new features in the Microsoft products and so on. So thanks a lot, and I hope we see you soon in the next webinar next week, where we actually will announce and show a new integration between Project Online and Microsoft Teams. So looking forward to see you there. Thank you.